Hello, this is Pastor Carlton Larson from the St. John Narana Parish. This is your midweek message for September the 8th, 2021. This week we have an anniversary coming up this Saturday, in fact. An anniversary that many perhaps would prefer to forget, and that I don't think anybody likes having to remember. September the 11th. That simple date has come to carry a lot of freight because of the actions of a few misguided individuals bringing a negative attention to their cause that has done tremendous damage to the world and to our ability to understand one another. The attacks on New York City and the Pentagon and the attempted attack with another aircraft that was defeated, that terrorist attack on September the 11th a few years ago created tremendous pain. And I don't think that it brought any good into the world. It in fact inspired our neighbors down south to attack a completely unrelated country and to start a war that accomplished nothing but destruction. It also is involved in the invasion of attack on Afghanistan, which has, as we found out this year, turned out to be completely useless. That country is back in the hands of the same extremist group that ran it back then. And the poor people of Afghanistan have suffered tremendously under the Taliban, as they have suffered under so many others. This is a problem of understanding. Immediately following the September 11th attacks, there was a question asked in the United States that was, I believe, the right question. The question, why do they hate us so much? It wasn't answered well. And instead of waiting for an answer and trying to understand, many of those in power simply decided to reach out in reaction and violence to attack instead of listen. There were many voices that wanted to do things differently, that wanted to sit down with those who were labeled Muslim extremists and try to understand their perspective, to understand their grievances, and to open up a dialogue. Unfortunately, the voices that cried out for vengeance and attack prevailed. Conflict is a positive thing. Conflict is when we disagree with one another and have to learn to deal with our differences. Warfare, it's been said, is a failure to have conflict. Warfare is the choice to kill rather than disagree, to kill and destroy instead of struggle to understand. This is a basic principle of Christian life and Christian understanding. The decision to come to understand and to try to do what Jesus said, which is love one another, care for one another, have compassion, especially for those who are weaker, who are vulnerable, who are in need. When the powerful strike out to protect their power, when the privileged strike out at others to maintain their privilege, that's not a Christian act. That is an act that is profoundly anti-Christ, who chose to die rather than to kill, who chose the way of the cross. The way of the cross is difficult. It is challenging. It is the way of understanding, of open-heartedness, and of being willing to suffer rather than to cause suffering. It's never easy. But it is the way the world changes profoundly, deeply, and forever. because Christ changed the world by choosing not to call on his 7 legions of angels, by choosing not to strike out, but to lay down upon the cross and say, Father, forgive them. They do not know what they are doing. The church marches forth on bloody feet. The church strikes out into the world with humility, with open heart, and with the readiness to die for others. And when it does so, it follows in the footsteps of Christ. May we be church. That is, may we embody Christ and his way of living in our world, that we, like Jesus, may transform the world by understanding those who do not understand us. This September 11th, see if there's someone you don't understand or do not like, and see if you can understand them better. And if it's possible, and if it's safe, get together with them and try to understand them. Amen.